So picture this. It's 1865. America has just been through an absolutely brutal civil war. The nation is saved, but its leader, the man who steered them through it all, is gone. It's this incredible moment of whiplash, and the poet Walt Whitman captured it perfectly in one of his most famous works, O Captain, My Captain. It's this beautiful elegy that's just caught between a huge celebration and this overwhelming sorrow. And that's the real question at the heart of this poem, isn't it? How in the world do you celebrate when the victory cost you everything? The war is over, the Union is preserved, but the leader who made it happen is dead. So how can you possibly cheer and grieve at the exact same time? Well, to understand how Whitman pulls this off, we have to start by looking at his central metaphor. Okay, so the key to this whole thing is realizing that Whitman isn't really talking about a ship. He's using it as a massive, powerful metaphor for America itself. It's that classic idea of the ship of state. Once you get that, once you crack that code, the whole poem just opens up. And here's the code, laid right out for you. The captain? Well, that's President Abraham Lincoln, of course. The ship he's commanding is the United States, which has just survived what Whitman calls a fearful trip. And that's the Civil War. And the prize they've won? That's keeping the country together, the preservation of the Union. With this key in hand, the whole thing just clicks. So keeping all that in mind, let's dive into the poem's opening. You can feel the tone right away. It's just this incredible sense of relief. The long, bloody, awful journey is finally over. I mean, you can just feel the exhaustion and the triumph in those words. Weathered every rack basically means it's survived every single storm, every possible hardship. The ship of state is battered, for sure, but it made it. The main goal, keeping the nation whole, has been achieved. And that survival is met with just pure, unfiltered celebration. The poem's focus immediately pivots from the dark storm of war to the bright, joyful shores of home. You can practically hear the scene Whitman's painting, can't you? You've got bells ringing, you've got this huge crowd just roaring with excitement. It's a snapshot of pure national joy. Everyone is out celebrating the return of the ship and the huge victory it represents. And this part so brilliantly shows us who all this celebration is really for. It's not just about the ship itself, it's for the leader who steered it through the storm. The flags are for him, the bugles are for him, the flowers, the cheering crowds lining the shore. It's all for one man, the captain, Abraham Lincoln. And right then, just as the celebration is at its absolute peak, Whitman pulls the rug right out from under us. The public joy is just shattered by a private, horrifying discovery. The tone shifts on a dime. It all pivots on that one little word, but. And man, is it a gut punch. That single word yanks the entire poem from triumph to tragedy. All of a sudden, the speaker isn't looking at the cheering crowds anymore. His eyes are locked on the bleeding drops of red on the ship's deck. This is the moment the awful truth hits. And there it is. The central tragedy. While the entire nation is celebrating its salvation, our narrator is standing right there, looking down at the body of the man who made it all possible. The huge public victory is just completely wiped out by this intensely private, devastating loss. And now, the poem just slows way down. It forces us to look, to really see the reality of death. The vibrant, powerful leader who commanded the ship of state is now just still. The description is so stark, so clinical. Yeah, there's no fancy poetry here. These are just the cold, hard facts. The life force, that incredible drive, the will that pushed an entire nation through a war, it's just gone. It's an image of absolute, crushing finality. So this contrast brings us to the poem's core conflict, the very thing that makes it so powerful and timeless, this unbearable tension between the joy of the crowd on the shore and the private sorrow of the one person on the deck. This slide lays it out perfectly. On one side, you have the speaker telling the nation, go on, celebrate, exult, O shores, and ring, O bells. He doesn't want to ruin their moment of joy. But on the other side, he is completely trapped in his own grief, walking the deck with a mournful tread, totally unable to join in. And that's the heartbreaking irony of it all, isn't it? The mission is a success, the ship is safe, the voyage is over. By every single metric, they won.
But for our narrator, standing there over his fallen captain, that victory feels like it means nothing at all.
You know, in the end, that's what gives this poem its lasting power. It's its incredible ability to hold two completely opposite feelings at the very same time. It's a snapshot of that single, impossible moment in American history, April 1865, when the nation's greatest victory collided head-on with its deepest sorrow.
And that leaves us with one last thing to think about. Whitman's poem seems to suggest that maybe great victories are always tangled up with great loss. It makes you ask, right? Are triumph and tragedy just two sides of the very same coin?